All right, here we are. And I cannot wait to dive into this today, guys, because this might be the moment where I'm going back to Obsidian. Who knows? Everything started with Rome Research and Notion, and very soon Obsidian came out. And that was it. Okay, there was backlinking born and all these things that we leverage very naturally in many, and that we expect in most of the PKM tools out there. And the thing is, people always were talking about privacy and having their files local and so on, but it was very restrictive accessing these files across different platforms. Yes, we had the Obsidian sync, but then when it came to customization, you had to really have a system in mind that you want to implement. So there was a lot of upfront work that you had to do inside Obsidian, installing plugins, installing even templates and all these things. That was easier in other tools. And then Claude came around, okay? And I'm using Claude since it appeared, and we even built our whole membership platform is built with Claude too. I'm not recommending this to anyone who has no clue about programming, right? But I saw already the capabilities in Claude Code. It was insane. And with Claude Code Opus, or with Claude Opus 4.5, this was a game changer, literally in the end of the year 2025. And now with Opus 4.6, it's just getting more insane because we have now a 1 million token window that we can use. And all this means it can read a lot more of our PKM systems. And if you follow the channel, you know, and you might have seen how I connected Heptabase and Tana to Claude. And it's insane. Just today, because I have a connection to ClickUp and Todoist, I can perfectly triage. You can go to the channel. There's a video where I even connected Apple Notes to Claude to extract my meeting notes, to perfectly understand what is action and what is information, and triage it into Heptabase and into Todoist, and finds the project and ClickUp to create an update. It is insane. And if you don't have a tool agnostic system that runs all this, that might be really overwhelming. So that's why we always have to have our foundations in place. As we keep saying, your tools will change, your system won't. And today, I might change the tools. We will see after this video, because I'm literally live testing it for the first time. And when we switch here, now you see I already fired up Claude Cowork here. And let me just quickly, there we go. Claude Cowork and Obsidian is here, fresh install. Okay, it's an empty vault that I created. There's nothing in there, and I just extracted or exported my Heptabase backup. So we have some starting things here. There's all my journal entries, highlights, and the card library. Everything is in there. My real Heptabase export, and what you see here is my live. This is the new vault from Obsidian, and that makes it so nice because, and the potential was always there, because markdown files, it's so easy to understand for AI to read and to manipulate. And if it is so easy to access in this way in a folder, it's even easier to access. That's why I strongly believe this might be a big leap towards Obsidian for sure, and we will see. We will see after this video how far we will get. Okay, so the idea first is to tell Claude Cowork, which is currently in my live. Let's see if I can still switch it. Yes, I can. To switch it to the overall folder. So it sees now my live, which is the Obsidian Vault and the backup. And I will tell it to import the backup from Heptabase into Obsidian. And let's see how good this goes. Heptabase export is actually markdown files, but like for Obsidian, obviously there are custom formatting inside these markdown files and well, code snippets, if you will. Let's see if it is possible for Opus 4.6 to import this backup into Obsidian and converting it properly into Obsidian connections at the same time. Well, I could have said this immediately. So I'm using Whisperflow to talk. So if you wonder that I'm not writing but talking, this is the reason why. You have access to the folder where I provided to you a Heptabase data backup with all my notes, all the information, images and files that are uploaded to my Heptabase Knowledge Base. And I would like to migrate this into my new My Life vault from Obsidian. But before you do so, analyze the Heptabase backup and understand the markdown formatting so it can get converted into Obsidian formatting properly. And I would love to see not only the correct backlinking and referencing still alive inside Obsidian after the migration, but also seeing even the whiteboards represented in the canvas inside Obsidian. Well, if this works, man, then it's over. Then we are in the future. Okay, there we go, and let's go. One prompt. I'm curious if one prompt is possible to pull this off. All right. Now it dives into the back end, obviously. Let me know in the comments what you're thinking. I mean, obviously, we all love Heptabase for all the reasons that we have. And I'm saying here, migrating to Obsidian, obviously, it's not so easy to do. There's obviously running workflows that I have. But I'm really curious. I'm really curious what we will get here. What are you using? Let me know in the comments. Do you use Obsidian, Heptabase, Tana? And it was the thing, it was really a hard time for me to set up Tana properly. So there's the local MCP that you can use to connect it to Claude. And I know from my co-founder, Paco, who is using Tana heavily, he uses it perfectly. He can write anything into Claude. It will perfectly reference the different nodes and even applies the super tags and fills out the custom fields and all these things. Let's see how far we can get, because Obsidian came a long way since I left it. When I left it, there was no canvas. There was also no tables or databases. And with all this now in place, and with Claude having a perfect understanding, because we also need to keep in mind, because Obsidian is around for such a long time, Claude has a wealth of knowledge how to use the tool, right? And how the formatting is of the markdown files and all this. So I'm really curious. Okay, it's doing its thing. It's analyzing 29 steps. And I love this. We are in Claude Cowork. And this is under the hood. It's Claude code running here. But it's much easier to digest as a normal user. And I love the different tasks that it's setting up, and also the different tools. And it even has a scratch pad. For some reason, the latest version, we cannot scroll all the way down. But yeah, it's still early access. And so I see. Can you see this? No, you can't. No, you can't. So here, Charlie is saying on YouTube, I've been jumping from craft capacities, Obsidian, Notion, etc., all trying to figure out and get my mind around Obsidian. I've learned something from each. That's true. I mean, if you have the time to switch to tools and do all this, or maybe it's your hobby, as it is for us, obviously, it's our business to test out all these tools and find the best solutions, then you learn a lot from all the tools. And that's where you then start appreciating specific features from each tool that you might not find in other tools, and then stick to it. And that's where it becomes really important to understand what you're looking for. What is it, what you really need? Paco and I, we keep saying we might be using 25-30% of the tools that we use, but we use a whole combination of tools. So why this is working in the back, and I will show you quickly our tool stack, or my tool stack at least. So that's the tool stack that we are using currently. So Paco here has even a lot more PKM tools. Also with Claude, we are reducing them more and more because, well, many things you can build locally in a folder. That's it. You can have proper databases and so on. And here's Heptabase, and this would be the place for Obsidian. See, that's where I'm crystal clear. If I would change something, then I would replace Heptabase with Obsidian in this case. And I understand that the rest of the system is still running. But if you try to do really everything inside a tool, that's something we never came across. It's never running properly. So that's why we keep using just 20-30% of the capacities of the tools that they have to offer. But we are using their superpowers, all right? And this is something that, so for example, that's obviously Claude is still thinking. So bring this back. So, for example, here you see reader readwise in combination with Heptabase. That's something you need to understand. There's outer world and inner world. The outer world is, where do I save this article? Where do I save this video? And this goes all into reader readwise. And the ICOR methodology ensures that you will process everything into the right place. Okay, so there needs to be a process that this information gets converted into actionable items, or at least categorized properly. And you can do this on the fly while saving if you know what. But if not, you have the inboxes, and inboxes are our friends, guys. That allows us to process them calmly at a later point. And that's what we did. We had a readwise reader inbox where we were able to throw things in. And then there's a later inbox in there, which is a separate inbox. So whenever we throw anything into the later inbox, we knew this is really something to follow up. And if I say we, it's Paco and me, as we do it the same way. And then you process the later inbox, and these are really the items that you want to look, the article to read, the video to watch, and so on. And this disconnects from the inner world note-taking app. I don't want to have all these articles and videos inside my deep thinking system here, because this is noise and I only want to have signal in here. And so this is the decoupling that is really important. But now again, Claude, we have now a MCP with readwise. I just made a video on this channel about it. And we can now ask readwise anything and process it, and I can then tell it to migrate into my deep thinking system and all these things. This is really crazy where we're going, and this helps so much more to quickly triage all these things. Obviously, we have also the Gmail integration and all these things that makes it so easy to here, for example, I drafted out a new course that we are publishing. There will be 2 new courses actually coming to the myICOR system. One is the AI like a Pro, and the other one will be Claude for Professionals. So I was drafting this out. I was leveraging all the information from all the lessons that we have with our over 13 courses that we already have in myICOR. And this is where I had the brainstorming, and usually there's a disconnect. Then you use from your chat bot or whatever where you had the brainstorming with and extract it into your PKM system or into your BKM, the business knowledge management system. And then you plan the things out and you refine this and all these things. Here, I said, okay, now we have the core structure, we have the outline. Now create me the course in ClickUp, all the lessons, move the draft scripts there. So I just need to record it. And this was like magic, because this was still a manual step. And people always ask for, how can I automate this? Well, these things we kept doing manually because it was faster than using automations, especially if automations break. Automations prior to AI needed to be set up properly. You had to know what they need to do, and they still need to be there, right? So you have a consistency, and you can rely to the automation that it will work all the time properly. But what was lacking was always the semantics. So now I can say create a course inside ClickUp and lesson, and I can use different wording. I can say it in German, whatever. It will be able to find what I'm talking about and create it this way. Will mistakes happen? Always. But this happens also with a personal assistant, a personal human assistant. And that's the way how I see these things. Man, it's really working hard here. So Charlie says on YouTube, I need Google Workspace for my business, mainly using Gemini and Google Meet and playing around with where to process the node generated therefrom. Could Claude take live notes in meetings? That's something, well, first of all, we are also using Google Workspace. We think it's an amazing platform for businesses, whereas it has so much to offer. There are 2 videos on the channel. One is talking about the whole Google Workspace. And if you're a member, you also can go here to toolstack templates. And there are the toolstack templates where we think how the Google Workspace in a productivity space should be laid out. And there we see a big gap for project management, but also for Microsoft. And at least there we have a project manager that we can place here, okay? But the thing is, the thing is why we are not using Google Workspace for everything private, the personal knowledge management, is that this is a business part. Businesses might change. Maybe they might, in Paco, it's 4 different businesses. He is running 4 different Google Workspaces, right? So having one in one system, you are stuck to this. And that's why, even that we have, for example, Google Keep there, it's not, I would never recommend it to use it for personal knowledge management. When I was working in big corporate, we've been using Google Workspace and Microsoft in combination. And there we had OneNote, and we had the option to use Google Keep. And I saw people putting in there what they want to have for lunch, grocery lists, how they want to build a house, all the things. Well, and then they leave the company and they're not even allowed to download these things and so on. And that's why we need to have a separate place where we can also have our private thoughts and all these things in there. But getting back to Google Meet, there is, Gemini is already, so Google Meet, if you're on the enterprise plan for Google Workspace, is storing the video recording and the transcripts on Google Drive or G Drive, right? And you can ask Gemini then to process this later on. Another thing is the MeetGeek. So if you don't know, MeetGeek, that's a tool that we've been using, I don't know, for 3 years now, constantly running in the background in our meetings. And that's the funny thing. We never look the things up, even that everything is stored in there. You have the video recording, you have the transcripts, but you also have insights. You have the speaker labels and all these things. It was storing here. We even had an automation and ClickUp where all these transcripts and all this appeared, but we never needed to look it up, because the thing is, when you have a proper productivity system, and you know where everything goes, during the meeting, usually the things are crystal clear. I don't want to invest time after the meeting to process this anymore. This being said, let's see if this works. Okay, while this is working, that's the good thing. We can launch more things in parallel. This being said, there is a MeetGeek integration. So we have now, and I'm not sure if this is working also then if you have the G Drive search. That's something I could look up. At some point, if it is possible, should be possible to search for these meeting notes then, and even the videos. But Granola is one meeting note taker that we've been using. And MeetGeek, why is it not appearing? I connected MeetGeek in the past. I don't know why it's gone. Well, I just reinstalled Claude today, so this might be the reason. But let's see. No, I don't think it will be in here. Yeah, but this being said, and it finished here. But this being said, it works. So I have a MCP connection to MeetGeek, and now it starts to make sense where I start asking, what about the last meetings? Because the AI has the full context. It knows about ClickUp, the tasks in Todoist, and my personal knowledge management system. And if I ask something in context with these meetings or something very specific that I need to look up, just going to MeetGeek, opening up the tool, searching for the transcript, finding the thing in there, even that there is a search field for AI, this was more friction than it was useful because it was still lacking the context. So I needed to extract the context from MeetGeek, even that it allows me to search within. That's why these enclosed AI is so limited useful. And then extract it in enough different places to combine it together so I then can use it with AI. And with these MCP connections, this is a thing of the past. Okay, so it seems it made progress, but not finished yet. So let's see. I'd love to help. Good, I can see Heptabase backup. Now let me do deep analysis, examining the README, choice and JSON structure. Okay. So it picked up some sample files. Okay, private stuff. Yes, okay. A whiteboard. So it analyzes now the different things, and I think this is amazing. I mean, just by understanding this, even if we don't get this with one prompt, I'm sure it would be possible by a bit of back and forth to make a proper migration. So what I could do in the meantime while this is working, so it creates also Python files. I think it will create a little program to import this properly, as we can see. This is taking longer than usual. Yeah, probably. Let's see. Let's open up another thing, and I will add just my live. Let's open directly this new vault from Obsidian. And now I'm curious if I would now add a project. For those of you who don't know what a project is, it's essentially like Notebook LM, where you can upload some references and sources, and it will always have this context in mind. The downside right now is you can load these in here, but it cannot leverage. So I'll show you what I mean. If you go to chat, and here's projects. Here are some of the projects. Okay, I had the ICOR Journey lesson writer for the course. And this was actually essentially rewriting existing lessons. So here you are able to apply all the Google Docs that we have in place, and then also the guidelines for this and so on. And it has this in context. And now you see here there are markdown files. The reason is if you go back to co-work, and that's why I think eventually it will all merge together. And we add now this project, and we go to ICOR Journey Lesson Writer. Here it says it's still limited support, so it doesn't read any Google Drive files. So why did I use Google Drive in the first place? Well, now we have live updates of knowledge inside our projects, and that's insane because now I can go to Google Docs, update whatever there is, and it will always have the latest information available. And that's why I didn't want to upload markdown files directly. But as you have seen, I already uploaded this just for this reason. So now we have the full context, the ICOR Journey book, everything as knowledge in here. Here I have an empty folder of Obsidian. And now let's see Let me go here, because now I worry if if it starts to override. That's something where you always have to be cautious. Sometimes I have 6, 7 agents running in parallel, but they really need to have distinctive work. You know, let's do it differently. That's the import for the My Life, and let's create even a new vault to test this other thing. So okay, and let's give it a dedicated location here, so it's not messing up. Whatever, I will delete these things later or move them. So now we have this, create, and there we are. This is the new vault. And now I will give this to Claude so we can play in both areas at the same time. It was just here. There we are. Okay, well, it creates a subfolder. Okay, now we're in the right thing. And now we have the My Life concept. So for those of you who don't know what this is, it's also in our myICOR application in the courses, in the ICOR journey. So very quickly bringing you up this, what we're trying to build here. It's in the PKM like a Pro course. And there we have My Life concept. Here it is. Okay, that's the magic slide for it. This is My Life, and we just separate things. That's the personal knowledge management area into current projects, key elements, and topics. And this is all just to prioritize any incoming information, but then also to quickly retrieve it. So very quickly, in short, obviously we go into a lot more detail, but all our PKM tools are set up this way. So no matter what tool I'm going to, it will always have the same setup, and it makes it so easy to also switch them tools. Current projects, that's important. It's not action. It's just any information that is related to ongoing projects, but only personal information. So in ClickUp, there might be loads of projects versus here there might be a lot less, but then there will be also private projects. So in Heptabase, you will see, for example, a project where we build our house and things like that. So I had to gather a lot of information, and this made it accessible. Key elements is what is ongoing in my life, what's critical to my life, right? Family members, the business, finances, all these things. And topics is, there can be thousands in there, obviously, depending on your interest. Whenever you come across something that sparks your interest, it would go in there. And then we recommend it's between 3-4 topics that you pick, that you focus on, or, you know, pay attention to. So you can have already a filter in mind when you go through social media. Is this for something of my topics? No, man, then let's ignore it. The most things I consume and forget, because if something is really interesting, it will come back anyway. But these things are really important. Obviously, there are magic slides, lessons, all these things. And now we have added this all to Claude. And now let's see if Claude is capable to set up Obsidian based on the My Life concept. Can you please set up this new Obsidian vault based on the My Life concept in ICOR? Just use the knowledge attached. I didn't give any details. Let's see if it really gets the point just by having the context in mind and, you know, understanding what Obsidian is. I expect now that it will naturally understand how Obsidian is structured, how it would be set up, and so on. And now it starts searching there. So we see here the blue dot indicates there's an update. So, okay, it's still reading sample files. Seems to be more complex than I thought going through this, but obviously that's, what is it, 2 or 3 years of content in Heptabase. But anyway, it will be better than just copy pasting all these files into Obsidian. Anyone who did this, let me know in the comments. You probably know that this is just a mess. So that's why we usually recommend it. Just start from scratch. If you really say, I want to move on to the next tool, well then start from scratch. Keep the things running in parallel. You will be surprised how less you actually want to migrate over. The things that really matter, you will do anyway. And then over time, you can bring in what is necessary right now. Well, that's why we kept running Evernote for 4 years or something. And the last 2 years, I never even looked it up anymore. Okay, it's still exploring. I have to say the Obsidian 4.6 is a lot slower. But it makes sense as it has a lot more context windows. What I'm really also interested in is the agent team, for example. So I just got a comment here from Peak Prophet 69. Sorry, just joined. So you like the JSON more than using the Heptabase MCP? Yeah, we will see. We will figure it out. I don't know yet how much I will like it. But obviously the idea is to, and come on, that I don't need to have a MCP connection. I don't need to have server requests. All I need to do is updating my local files. And that's something I'm already doing a lot with Dropbox. We always use Dropbox. It's perfectly accessible. Unlike for others, it never breaks so far, knocking on wood. But it allows me to have the whole, we have, I think, 4 terabytes on Dropbox already with all the video recordings and so on. So we have here video editing, YouTube, and there we have just for this one channel, and here are all the dates. And, these are just from this month, all the videos. So, and whenever I run out of space, I just right click and offload it and make it online only. And this allows me to use Claude locally, but whenever it worked on it, it's secured in the cloud. Obviously, I can use also iCloud, but our co-founder Paco, he said he had bad experience with the iCloud synchronization using Claude. I don't know if anyone else had this issue. Let us know. Okay, come on. You can do it. Yeah, well, that's when you're live, in an edited video, this would be a lot faster, obviously. Well, I even have to learn again Obsidian. I know it was the 2 brackets, so I can link. I don't want to mess up the vault. I wanted to set this up. So there was a big question to ask, to tell him to go through the ICOR concepts. ICOR live concept. Let's see what it found. Okay, it's searching. What I usually do when I ask something to search online, I always ask Claude to use Perplexity. Once I started using Perplexity, I stopped using Google search. And well, now we have the AI search for Google too. And yet I still prefer Perplexity. It just gives me the better results. And that's why I leverage Perplexity a lot with Claude when I was coding, creating the tool that you all can use now. I told it, always search via Perplexity for industry standards and best practices. And the beauty is that it goes out and it finds all the different forum entries and all these things, discussions, and then figures this out. And I just realized it's just much faster and much more reliable with the results. I always have the feeling when I ask here, it goes out and searches for a bunch of pages. Most of them, the AI is cannot access anyway, as many pages start blocking AI. That's why I'm curious about Perplexity, why this is still working so good. I don't know how it's working. Maybe it's allowed versus normal AI not. I don't know. There, I don't know the details. Come on. We are 1 hour in and no migration happened yet, but Not complaining, obviously. Usually I would do something else in the meantime. That's how things work nowadays. You give it a task, several tasks, it runs over time. I come back and check. All right, come on. Let's open up a third folder. So we can start playing. No, sorry. It's late here. It's 8 p.m. So, and it's a Friday, so it's a long week. My brain is no longer. What the heck am I looking for even? Oh, yeah, of course. Open a vault. And now let's create another one. Testing vault. And let's add it to. And here we have the testing vault. So now let's see what we can do. Okay, so because the basic idea is that we can build our knowledge on autopilot. And well, the downside is that I have to be in this folder, obviously. So if I want to work in other folders, either I really put this, well, I go very further back where this folder is included and other folders are included too. Or I have an issue because right now we cannot add several folders at the same time. We only can upload more files and photos. And obviously we could include this as a project, but then I don't think it's not working. No. And using Claude Code, it's easier because there I can just provide the link. And by the way, if you ever search for a link on your folder, on Mac at least, right click on it and then hold down Option. And then you have here the path name. So this is just copy the whole folder, but here you have the path, and if I paste this in here, now I have the path to this folder. Okay, so let's see. Let's say, okay, go to Perplexity, find the latest news about AI and productivity for professionals, and create an entry for today in a journal setup in Obsidian. Anything that you found there that I found useful. I know it's random. It's not even giving a structure, whatever. I just want to see it work. Don't judge me. Let's see if it is actually using Perplexity. It should come up here as the tool it's using. Unless it's also not connected anymore. It's actually going to Chrome. By the way, the Chrome extension, I highly recommend if you use this. Yeah, Perplexity is no longer there. Well, I have to reinstall the MCPs. Now it's actually actively going to Chrome, and now it has having issues there because it tries to find Perplexity, and I have to set up Chrome. That's interesting. So the reinstall, I never reinstall anything before you go live. But I had an issue with Claude. It wasn't launching up, and that was the problem that I had. So here's the Claude extension. We have it available, and this is really amazing. And yet, again, it's restricted because here we don't have context. Okay, so, but now we can combine this by, now you have access to Chrome. Well, it already started doing the web search here, but I just want to show you how it does it. So it might, let's see. Yeah, it opens up a tab, see? And now it goes to Perplexity. I don't do anything. And this highlight shows that Claude is currently working in here. And now it probably tries to fill out the field here and searching for the field. And that's really slow, obviously. That's really slow. But the good thing is with the Chrome extension, with the Chrome extension for Claude, you can actually train. You can even record yourself explaining what you're doing on a website, and that speeds up things a lot. Well, that's something I could have searched too. I was hoping for a much more comprehensive prompt that Claude comes up here, but I didn't give it any instructions, so it's fine. It's just important to see what it does with the result. And if it is possible, well, I usually use the Perplexity API connection, so it gets the result directly. There's instant feedback and all the resources, and this should work a lot better. But for testing purposes, this is good enough. So let's see what is doing in the backend. At the same time, let's go back. What's going on in the other sections? Oh, guys, what the heck? And here, maybe I should have used Sonnet for this. I mean, in the end, all it needs to do is to find the lesson with the my live concept and understands it, and boom, that's it. But well, okay, it found the result. Could have captured a lot of content. Let me scroll down to see. Yeah, that's what it does. So it always, scrolls also through the page. That's taking forever, and it's not efficient at all. So whenever possible in this regards, I would always prefer the API, even that you have to pay extra. Okay, so if you connect Perplexity with here, you have to use the API, and then you have to pay separately. Something that you also have to do with Claude if you use it in other tools other than the native tools. I'm curious with how long this takes if we would have been faster just using the normal terminal. I don't know. Let's do this. Let's get a bit more nerdy. Although I don't think this is nerdy at all once you get the point. So we just need to, again, get the vault. Let's create another vault. In this case, I will just create it the other way around. I will just create a new one. Claude code. And again, I just right click, option, path name. And then I just hit CD and the path name, paste it in with copy, command V. And now I'm in this folder. And now I launch Claude inside this folder. That's it. So now it sees an empty folder. So now I can say, I don't know. What did I want to do here? Let's see. I could now just simply go to the courses and find the pcam like and now go to, whoops. Well, the thing is, even that I misspelled this, it will get the point. And understand the concept of my life. Then inside your folder, set up an Obsidian vault that I can access that has already the basic structure of my life. Okay, see, that's what I usually do. If things are not working or taking longer, I'm usually launching a few more. I'm on the max plan, on the $200 max plan. I'm maxing it out too. Although with the new Obsidian updates, it became a lot more efficient. So I usually never hit the limits anymore. I know my co-founder Paco, he is on the $100 max plan and he's perfectly fine with this. And he's using this heavily every day too. But not for coding, right? That's why I need it in addition. All right, so here's now we see the first thing. All done. Here's what I did. Okay, I don't want to see this. I want to see it inside Obsidian. Now let's see. Which Obsidian did you update? Oh, that's a journal entry. There we go. Daily node. Okay. Okay, that's a good start. So now we can say there are things like Microsoft and AI and Anthropic and so on. So we could say there's twice Microsoft and so on. So now I can go further and say, ensure that everything is backlinked in there. Again, not very specific. Let's see what AI does. Sometimes I like this because this is where you find the boundaries and then you can go back and refine things over time. So now it understood. Let me read the current file on Obsidian style. And this is the thing. Now you can create an Obsidian skill. So you load in the information about Obsidian. Maybe there's even an MCP connector. I know there is an MCP connector, but that's what we want to avoid here. Let's see. Here I found this one, right? So there was an MCP connector already and a lot of things. And well, very sophisticated compared to other MCP connectors, I have to say that. A lot more access. You can go into developer mode and you can even open a page on Chrome where you see the details, what's happening. Okay, what is this? See? Man, it did it. It did it. Let's see. Boom. First connections made. Now let's go wild. This is the moment, guys. Aha, okay, so it just made the connections and not the actual nodes yet, which is a good thing actually in Obsidian. So the moment I click it, I create this node. I could now say it should create actually the files of this, but let's keep it easy. Now research what different things can be interconnected and are related to each other and connect them together with some context added to their nodes. Therefore, you have to create the relevant files. See, this is becoming really fun because now you can play around and things like that. Obviously, we are in a testing ground here. That makes things a lot easier than using your real vault or your real knowledge base. We also have an update here on this terminal. Okay, it got the understanding. See, it is much faster in this terminal. We just fired it off. It already understood the scripts. Now it sets it up. Amazing. Well, let's keep it working. Let's see how far they get. I'm curious if Claude code in the terminal would be faster with also the migration process. We can test this also. But here, man, nothing is happening. That's a fucking joke. What the heck? I think it's stuck. Today it already was stuck previously. Maybe due to the high demand lately. But I have to be honest, I probably would use Claude Code then in this moment, because look at this, how it's bursting through all the files. Let's open this up. See, it creates all the things. It goes beyond, actually, as I can see. But here, current projects, rules, only list projects you're actively working. Man, it even extracts the actual rules, how these things are set up. Because once you have this, then you can have also a rule book for the AI. It's Claude.md, or skills, or many ways you can do this. So you ensure whenever you ask something like make a journal entry or something like that, it has the whole methodology in mind. So it perfectly knows how to manage your PKM system. And once you have this end-to-end, as we have with ClickUp and so on, ICOR covers everything beyond PKM. This is the moment these things now start to shine because we have a proper system in place here. Start here. It walks you through the first steps. It made even Obsidian configured with daily nodes pointing to. Well, let's see how this looks in Obsidian. Well, the other thing, you see, man, you can watch it, how it starts connecting. It's just popping out there, see? And I'm curious because it should now also add context. Here, GPT-5, it added a context. So I'm building up a Wikipedia, but based just on my own interests. This is crazy, man. This is interesting. So I'm really curious about the canvas, what it can do with this. We will check out in a moment. So this one is right now connecting the things. I'm getting confused now with all these. Obsidian. That's the terminal, yeah, obviously. Well, I set this up manually. That's why I need to open it first. Which is this one. And there we go. There's the My Life concept. Current projects, key elements, topics. And I love this, man. It's setting up, it made a whole template for the ICOR methodology as it describes even what to do. You can have here the focus topics. And then this is the moment, usually it was manual things to do, but now I can always tell AI to remind me of the active topics. The moment I write my active topics in here, AI will look this up whenever I ask something and maybe remind me, don't get distracted. Focus on your active topics. And here, key elements, health, fitness, business. That's great, but that's usually very individual. That's where I would now communicate with Claude. And by the way, I also found out a way that you can use Telegram to call Claude and talk to it. So this is where it becomes really interesting with these things. I see another comment from TG82. Do you think for Heptabase to stay relevant, they should lean into creative functions like being able to diagram, possibly have agents working on things on your boards and so forth? The thing is that when they rolled out AI in Heptabase, they did it right. So they deeply integrated AI there. What I'm not so happy about is the flexibility using external AIs, like using an MCP. And that's where I'm surprised as well for Tana and all these things that they are so slow rolling out these MCPs. Obviously, it's not an easy thing to do. Also security issues and many things that go into this. And I reached out on Heptabase Discord and they already confirmed it's on the roadmap to allow cross-linking references and all these things. But they have to provide the information to AI so it becomes possible for AI to do these things. Here in Obsidian, it's just inside the files on the folder. And it knows how things are connected and it will just find it and connect it together. There's no magic behind these things anymore. And that makes it really powerful. Let's see how far we can get when I say, can you set up a simple CRM system or people database? Yeah, let's do this again. What the heck, why can't I? Seems option is not working in here. Please set up a simple people database inside Obsidian that has custom fields for their birthday, email address, phone number, business address, private address, and related people. Okay, a relationship for you too. Again, I'm very vague here. Let's just see if it understands that it should be tables in there and how they're interconnected. And that's the magic behind the semantics using AI. Even when you were Googling and searching for things online, you had to be very specific to find the things properly. And here we will now see, and let's directly go here to see what happens. There we have people dashboard. So it seems okay, let's see. But you didn't set up a base. As far I have seen. Ah, right. It is considered a base, right? But here still the properties are empty. It's not. This is not it. But here it works. To be honest, I never used bases, so I was just considering it knows it. But here it works as the related people, and it made an example person too to connect to. But I'm curious now where the database actually lives. Ah. It even understands this. What plugins are installed. So this means that it can also install plugins, I guess. In the meantime, let's go back how far we got here. Okay, that's this one. Now here we have the interconnections. Let's say create a canvas to represent the relationship between the AI tools and the big companies like Microsoft, Google. Makes no sense at all, but let's see what happens. Okay, these things seem really to be stuck. Sorry, guys. I'm not happy either. Okay, let's open up this other thing again. Yeah. Here. Now this says base, but unable to pass. And that's now the beauty. I make just a screenshot as I'm not able to select the text, and I'm too tired now to make a what the heck? Why is it not possible to use the option and commands here anymore? Everybody watching must think I'm stupid. What the heck? Now it worked. I don't know what happened there. Not working. That's all I need to say. It will recognize what is going on. It will go into the file. It will fix it. Obviously, if you provide the proper documentation about Obsidian, it will understand much better. I could tell it to go to Perplexity to find the solutions and many things that we can solve this. It might seem slower, but we are in the initial setup. there we go. Now we have the database showing just all the other items again. So it's not filtered by anything. Well, I have to look into this separately, how to use bases. That's just not the thing that we should do right now. But let's do something else. Okay, let's bring in some mockup data and then we will see how we can request. Be sure I will do a proper video about this because I think it's really interesting, and I hate that this is now stuck here. That was really the thing I was curious about. I will stop this. Ah. Okay, it just got stuck. It's still in, I don't know, alpha or whatever. And this is the reason why. So we could now use this and start a new terminal. And yes, there's Claude code in here too, but I like to have the proper control using the slash commands and all these things. Ah, now I opened it in the wrong. Let's see. I can. Where is it? There we are. Obviously, you can also drag and drop and hold down shift and then let it go. That's also how you can extract the path. You don't need to do the right click thing that I showed to you. Too many arguments? No. Let's try this again. Okay, now I will copy in this, all this. And let's see what happens. Ah, bullshit. Obviously, we have to launch Claude. Guys, it's getting too late. That's where I usually stop doing any programming, or anything like this, because this is a clear indicator. I'm doing stupid things like this. But let's see how fast it gets here. So here, for example, I would have switched in planning mode. So it perfectly first understands. Well, let's do it actually in plan mode. So it now has a complete different approach to the things, and it will analyze Heptabase differently. See, it instantly asks me questions. Heptabase subfolder. Where should the migration Heptabase data land inside? In this case, we do merge it into the vault root because it's an empty vault. How should internal links be formatted in the migrated nodes? Wiki links. No, wiki links. Should I preserve the original Heptabase metadata? Card IDs, time spent, whiteboard association. Let's see what it does. I don't know. For whiteboards with many cards. See, all the questions, I never got this in the first place using Claude Cowork. So for whiteboards with many cards, some canvas files could be quite large. Yeah, well, show me how you can perform. Yeah. With Obsidian Canvas compared to Heptabase whiteboards. And let's see. So now we see here the data that it created. That's the mockup data, which was this one. Yeah. Now we have this database, the entries. It's stupid. That's not properly set up, obviously. It created the people in here. And now we should see inside the journal here some entries, some open tasks. That now it becomes interesting. Okay, because it even says deep work tasks. Okay, so let's see what I can do now. Let's see which MCP servers we have here. What the heck? All the MCP servers are gone. What the heck? Okay, there's still ClickUp. Todoist is there. All right. Well, more than enough. From the last, well, find all the open tasks inside Obsidian, which are just the unchecked checkboxes. And, well, create the tasks inside Todoist and then check them off inside Obsidian. So this is the idea, that you can use your PKM tool to create tasks on the flow, but there should be a consolidated place where you have access to all of them. And then you usually process them into your action system. We are never using the PKM tools for task management, and the reason is the disconnection, right? So I have a PKM system where I have a few tasks in there, then I have a few in ClickUp, and then we are talking here about busy professionals with multiple sources of actions, thousands of emails, information, action, hundreds of things per day. And I'm not even joking, right? I got hundreds of emails in Cooperate every day. So it was thousands after I came back from my holidays. So you need to have a system in order to manage all this and to triage all this properly. And this is what so many people are suffering with. So whenever volume comes, this is the moment you realize, a checkbox in Obsidian might be not sufficient enough. But this could be overcome because now I can take meeting notes inside Obsidian. And here you see it perfectly understood what are the tasks that are still open. It listed it here. Now I could, say, the one you move, the other one you don't move, and so on. Goes to Todoist. It's failing to connect to Todoist. Well, automation is the same for AI. It's always nice as long as it works. Well, maybe it's not logged in or reconnect. Guys, I have to reconnect all the MCPs, not something I will do today. That's Murphy's Law. I'm going live for the first time for ages. And now using Claude, for more than a year. And obviously today everything is down. Claude Cowork isn't working properly. The MCPs are disconnected. What the heck? But I think you saw the principle, and I think we also see the potential that we have here. What I really like about this idea is this direct access of AI and representing it inside a PKM tool like Obsidian without the need to build something locally, because obviously you could have now just note-taking via AI and tell it to build something to show you all this. But this is actually the visual representation, and then the brain is actually, or the intelligence behind this, the AI that you're using with it. Okay, guys, this thing is still working. Yeah, that's the thing for... See, it sent out 3 different agents now to understand the structure of the Heptabase backend and so on. I guess that's not something we will see today, but be sure I will make a follow-up video where I share all the insights that I concluded here. Sorry that we weren't able to dive a lot deeper into this. I was hoping that the pace will be much faster, which was not the case. But thanks so much anyway for watching, and be sure that you will see the follow-up video soon. And if you are not a member yet, you can join for free. We will meet inside myICOR, and I catch you up in there, right? Guys, have a good time.